So the people who miss this will miss that long preamble. Okay, let's go to question number 2. Who would like to volunteer for question number 2? Or do you want me to pick someone? Okay, Stephanie just stretched, so I'm sorry. Stephanie has to go first. Okay, Stephanie, can you tell us the clue and the answer very quickly? The rest of you, please attend to it.
I picked 4.
Okay, can you tell us the clue and why you picked 4?
Because it was the consequence of injuring his spine while working.
Okay, very good. So I would link the injury to the use of a wheelchair, and I would put there consequence, right? Because it is consequential, meaning it is cause and effect, one thing leading to another, right? That when I injure my spine, I will need to use a wheelchair. Okay, so I will cancel out all contrast, however, otherwise, right? And then I will look at nonetheless and consequently, because they are more or less, right, connectors of consequence or connectors of cause and effect. And out of the two, consequently, clearly illustrates the cause and effect of injury leading to wheelchair usage. Okay, so that's very good. Thank you very much. Let's have Clarice, can you try number 3 for us? Tell us the clue and the answer to number 3, please. All good?
Number 4.
Okay, can you tell us the clue before you tell us the answer, please?
Because it says that they have been postponed and it's positive, so the back must be negative.
So this is a positive, and therefore I map this to a negative. And since this is has, it's quite straightforward that it's going to be hasn't, right? So again, this is principle of best fit, okay? I don't have to do elimination because it's quite clear here that one thing leads to another. Has leads to hasn't. Okay, thank you very much. So that's pretty good. Let's have Skylar do number 4, please. Clue before answer.
I put number 2 because figure out is phrasal verb.
Okay, very good. Figure. And so you took the something out, right? And then you combine the figure with this in order to make it a phrasal verb. Very good. So you're sensitive to the fact that it's a phrasal verb, even though it has been broken up by a quantifier. Okay, very good. So please take note here that sometimes phrasal verbs disguise themselves because they are broken up by other words in between. In this case, the quantifier something, okay, is breaking up. Otherwise, a phrasal verb will figure out. Okay, so in this case, out is absolutely right because figure out means to solve, right? A particular problem or a particular puzzle, okay, to figure out. Okay, the others simply don't work. And this is a phrasal verb of collocation. All right, again, you will hear this word a lot, collocation, because they want to test whether you're familiar with how words fit together at the phrase level, right? And primary school is always at the phrase or at the short sentence level. In secondary school, you will move on to the paragraph and textual level, okay, of collocation. But here it's phrase and it's sentence, short sentences. Okay, number 5. Can I have Nicholas try number 5? Tell us the clue first before you tell us the answer, please, Nicholas. Thank you.
The price of the gowns
Okay, the price. Why is this the clue?
is singular.
Singular, thank you. So it's one, right? It's one price, okay? And then what else is the clue?
There's a range of 300 to a few thousand.
Okay, so this over here indicates to me that this is a statement of fact, right? It's not a statement of opinion because it's factual, right? So if it's factual, right, then it tells me that the tense cannot be in anything other than the simple present tense, right? Because if I'm telling you something, right, the price of this is this, it's not an opinion. It's a statement of fact. And the moment I have a statement of fact, right, it always exists in the eternal present. So it's the simple present tense, right? Okay, please annotate. Simple present tense. So again, I just need to use my subject-verb agreement rule. One puts as after the verb. And this is, again, my principle of best fit. I don't even need to eliminate anything because it's very clear to me. One, the price puts as ranges after the verb because it is a statement of fact. And again, this is where my mastery of tenses comes in. If I'm aware of what tense this ought to be in, it simplifies my selection of the answer. Okay, so far so good, everybody. We are moving a little bit faster than yesterday, but I'm sure you're all good, huh? Okay, question number 6. Zoe, can you try this? Give me the clue first, then the answer. I'll get Dia to do the next one.
Next week.
Okay, right, next week. Very good. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, can you tell me why it's next week, by the way?
Because next week is future.
Okay, very good. So this is happening in the future. Okay. And remember, I told you, right? When we are expressing future, there is no future tense. So we only use modals, right? And if you look across, right, there's only one that has a modal. Can you tell how easy it becomes when you master the clues and you master the principles of tenses? You don't even have to look at the rest, right? Because anything else here is not a modal. But that predicates the fact that you know what's a modal, right? If you don't know what's a modal, you may have to spend a bit more time here. And if you gain 10 seconds here and you multiply that by many numbers that you are able to very quickly navigate, you will find that you have a lot of time to check your work. And that differentiates a good student who performs well in an exam from one who doesn't. Because if you are able to speed through questions that do not require additional thought, right, you can save up your mental energy for the ones that do. Okay, so this is all very important. I'm trying to teach you the tips and tricks to speed through questions in order to very quickly arrive at the next one. Okay, and then you are able to like save your mental energy for the really difficult questions rather than getting there exhausted and not able to fully, digest the difficult questions. Okay, good. Cheng, can you? I'm sorry. I said Dia, right? Dia, can you try number 7, please? Go ahead.
I thought number 3. There's because of lost and fell.
Okay, so lost his balance and fell is in a past tense,
And
right?
when.
Okay, when. Okay, very good. So
number
that's
3.
so this is telling you that this is actually an event that interrupts another one, right? Okay, so it's a singular event, the falling, right? Or the losing balance and falling, interrupting something that was continuously happening. Okay, so this obviously has to be continuous because remember we learned about the past continuous form being 2 events, one interrupting another that's continuing over a period of time. So again, mastery of tenses helps me immediately take out is boasting because it cannot be in the present tense, right? Okay, and then I also learned here that this is 1, right? So if I go 1 verb patterning, this has to be 2. So that takes out number 4. It cannot be a 3 verb form because it's 1 to 2 or 3 to 2. I'm sorry, it's 3 to 2 or it's 2 to 1, right? So it's pretty clear that it's pretty clear that it can't be any of those. So it cannot be the first one either. Okay, because it's not continuous, therefore number 3 is the answer. So here I use process of elimination. Okay, but of course, I could also use best fit because past continuous was boasting is the only answer with past continuous, right? So it's very, very clear cut. Okay, excellent. Cheng, can you try number 8, please? We're doing a very good pace today. Quick.
2 speakers.
Okay, all right. 2 speakers, right? And then what is the answer?
Clearer.
Which one? Just give me the number so it's easier for me to
1.
write. 1. Okay, very good. So remember, 2 is a comparative. And comparatives, we use ER or more. Okay, and then if it's more than 2, it's 3 or more, then it's a superlative comparison, and we use EST or most. Okay, just scribe that in. It's pretty straightforward. So the only possible answer is number 1 by principle of best fit. Again, applying the knowledge that I know about adjectives. Okay, number 9. Let's have Heidi. Can you try number 9, please? And then Claire can do number 10. Okay.
Time.
Okay, very good. And this is a collocated phrase, right? It's not a phrasal verb, but it's collocated, right? So time is always what? At, in, by, or over.
Number 2.
Yeah, number 2, right? It's in time lah. Okay. In time basically means punctually, right? Within the bracket of the time agreed. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Claire, number 10, please.
I chose number 2.
Okay, tell me the clue before you tell me the answer.
Was and gave him
Okay.
a shop.
Okay, was ransacking. By the way, do you know what is ransacking, Claire? Claire, do you know what's ransacking?
No.
Okay, yeah, Solomon, go ahead.
Ransacking is like you invading the room and then like stealing everything.
No. It's neither invading nor stealing, right? That is not an accurate definition of ransacking. But it does involve invading a space that you do not belong to, and then, stealing something, but that's not what ransacking means, okay? Dia?
Is it rummaging?
Yes, but then you're introducing another word that's difficult to define. I want a simpler explanation. Clarissa?
Making a mess of the room.
Okay, so there's something to do with mess. Okay, but that's not the operative term here. Stephanie?
Is it looking for something and like very messily?
Yes, correct. Okay, so it's messy searching lah, right? It's messy searching to look for something. And Dia mentioned a synonym, rummaging. Okay, so it's the same thing, right? Ransacking and rummaging. But if I were to put the two on a client, which one is more serious? I would put ransacking on top lah. Ransacking is more messy, right? And rummaging is somewhere probably here. Okay, this is a word client. This is for your vocabulary MCQ in case you have to search for something. And then right at the bottom, right, will be like searching. Okay. So in order of like messiness, I will go up this way, right? Searching becomes rummaging, rummaging becomes ransacking, right? In order of like severity and messiness. Okay. So of course, in this case, since it is past continuous, the answer must be in the past, right? So it cannot be spring. Okay, it cannot be sprung because sprung is the perfect form. Remember, if you know your perfect form, you know that this cannot be it. Okay, right? And then it cannot be springs because springs is also present tense, right? So the only answer is number 2 by process of elimination. Okay, so this is present, this is present, this is perfect. So the only past tense form is number 2. So again, applying a grammar rule is basically the way that you can guarantee your marks in Grammar MCQ. Okay, so again, please give yourself a score upon 10, please. Conscientiously tracking your progress and taking note of your mistakes. Over time, you should see a pattern. If you see that you are constantly making mistakes in a particular type of grammar item, please pay more attention to that type and also review those rules so that you don't make that mistake again. All right. So the purpose of us doing over a period of a few days is so that we can set up like opportunities for you to spot your own patterns. Okay, so reflect on your performance, look at the pattern of your mistakes, and then you are in a position to correct it. All right, otherwise you may not be aware of what kind of mistakes you're making. Okay, so I'm using the same sections for that purpose. All right, so please catch the patterns of error that you are making, and then try to highlight and then address those patterns so that you do not make them again. Okay, next, let's skip this. Let's skip this. Okay, let's go to grammar MCQ. I'm sorry, grammar close passage. Okay, let's get started here. Okay, Amelia, can you get us started with question 29, please? Tell us the clue and your answer.
I think the clue is the was.
Oh, okay, right. Was really? Are you sure that's the clue?
The Spanish conquerors.
No lah. No. None of the above. It's treasured. Okay. This is the word that collocates with this. Okay. So it is treasured something, right? So what was the answer you put in, by the way?
I put D.
D. Yes, correct. Absolutely right. Okay. So you got the correct answer, but you got the wrong clue. Why is the clue treasured the correct clue? Because treasured by, it is a collocated phrase, right? The preposition is attached to the verb by, right? I'm sorry, the preposition by is attached to the word treasured, to the verb treasured. Okay, so you treasured, it's treasured by the Spanish conquerors. In other words, right, this brilliant die is actually the object. This is in a passive form. This is the object, right? And actually the Spanish conquerors is the subject. Can you remember that whenever we passivize a statement, that means we move the subject to the back, we move the object to the front, we must always insert the word by. You remember that? We learned that in synthesis, right? When the subject moves to the back and the object moves to the front, we always insert the word by. And that's passive, right? And this is, again, a rule that if you are sensitive to, you immediately come to the answer by, rather than instinctively thinking that, oh, it's the answer because it sounds right, right? So I'm explaining to you what you might intuitively realize, okay? Adrian, can you do question 30, please?
My clue is like a small amount of people because I mean for my answer it's C.
Okay.
And actually I really didn't do clues for this.
Okay, so I can tell you straight off that your answer is incorrect. Okay, so I'm talking about a small number of people. So I'm using a preposition to describe this group of people. So
With?
No. You are still incorrect. Please let the others give it a try before you give any more peppered answers. Okay, so it is not with, and it is not before. It is a preposition.
My answer is 2. Answer is 2.
What do you mean?
C.
Didn't
Wait,
you
no,
say
not
before?
C. My answer is L. The 2.
Actually, all your answers are wrong. Okay, so can you just stop right there? Okay, this is good. All right, so this suffices quite a lot. It's incorrect, right? Because if you look at the word small number of people, you say to a small number of people, it can cause swelling. Incorrect what? It can cause swelling. What? If I put this in front, right, it can cause swelling what? A small number of people. It can cause swelling to a small number. You don't cause swelling to a small number of people, what? Right? What do? You cause swelling. Kanish, go ahead. You cause swelling in? Yes, go ahead.
4.
I already said it's not 4. Ariel, Ariel, quickly. Unmute yourself, please.
I put F.
No, it's incorrect. The answer is H. In a small number of people. So it can cause swelling in a small number. Because I'm not talking about the people, I'm talking about the number. In a small number, right? In this small number, right? In this small group, right? Swelling can occur. You get what I mean? I'm not referring to the people. In this case, it's the small number. So in this small number, in this small group, right? In this small group, this cochineal can produce swelling. Right? So again, in a small group of people, in the small group, it's not the people. Okay, I know what you're trying to do. It can cause swelling to people. It can cause swelling for people. By the way, for is wrong. Swelling cannot be for someone. Right? So it's in this number that it can cause swelling. So common mistake here. Please be very aware. When you are talking about number, right, it's always in this particular group or in this particular number. Write this down. In refers to a group or number. Okay, and this is a common mistake, right? It's not for, it's not with, it's not before, it's in a small group or in a number of people. This can cause this effect, okay? Swelling, rashes. All right. I was hoping that this would be an error, and it is in fact an error. That's fine. Okay. So Adrian, the fact that you are making this mistake reveals to you that this is an error in your prepositional awareness. So please be a little bit more aware of your prepositions, okay? Right, and if it applies to Adrian, it will apply to most of us as well, right? So let's be very sensitive to this kind of question. Yes, Dia, you want to do the next one or you want to ask a question?
I want to do the next one.
Okay, go ahead, 31.
S.
Okay, it's identified
And
as...
the extract.
Okay, right, so it is explicitly identified as, right? So you identify something as something else, okay? So as cochineal extract on product labels, previously a vague phrase such as natural coloring. Okay, so vague phrases. I'm just going to highlight this and I'm going to do the next one because we are a little bit short on time. So vague phrases right here. And this is in the past tense, right? Because of the word previously, right? So vague phrases were acceptable. Were acceptable, right? So be very careful here because it's not natural coloring. It's vague phrases. And if it's vague phrases, right, it's multiple phrases. It's more than one phrase, right? So therefore, many, no S after the verb, were. Vague phrases such as natural coloring were acceptable, right? Cactus eating cochineal bugs. Okay, Clarissa, would you like to do 33, please? Beginning in the 16th century?
I put with
Tell us the clue before you put your answer.
status.
Oh. Okay, never mind. All right. So wealth and status. Okay, right? So obviously you put A, right? Did you put A?
I put Q.
You put Q. Europeans of wealth with status, no lah. Wealth and status are linked together, right? Okay, you cannot have wealth that has status. Wealth is part of what they have. So you have wealth and you have status, right? If you put wealth with status, then the status is attached to the wealth, which doesn't make sense. Wealth in and of itself doesn't have status. It's people who have status. Okay, so incorrect, huh? Right? So it's wealth and status because they are linked. They are both of them belonging to the Europeans, right? What do the Europeans have? The Europeans have wealth, Europeans have status. So wealth and status, right? So that was incorrect. Nicholas, you want to try the next one?
No, I just wanted to ask why can't I put whose?
Europeans of wealth whose status? You mean the wealth wore clothing? The Europeans of wealth whose status wore clothing. You mean how can the wealth have status that wears clothing? It doesn't make any sense, right? If you read the entire sentence, Nicholas, then you will realize that it doesn't make sense. You have to read, remember, in the sentence. Your answer must be read within the context of the sentence. Beginning in the 16th century, Europeans of wealth whose status wore clothing ridden with rare cochineal. Wealth whose status? You mean the status belongs to the wealth and the status wears clothing ridden with rare cochineal? It doesn't make any sense. Nicholas, do you understand? Nicholas? Hello, Nicholas?
Yeah.
Okay, please, you have to read the sentence in its entirety with the answer embedded in it. And it has to make sense to you. If it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't matter if it seems to fit beside that word. It makes no sense at all. It's wrong. I don't care if it looks like it's nice next to that word, right? You cannot judge the validity of an answer simply based on the neighboring word. You have to look within the word left, right, and within the sentence itself. It must fulfill all those criteria, all right? That's a rather short-sighted way to judge an answer. You cannot just look at the word next to it, all right? You have to read the entire sentence. Yes, Brian?
Can I answer 34?
Oh, sure, go ahead. And tell me the clue before you answer.
The clue is more than 2 centuries.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
And it's a F4.
Okay, so for more than 2 centuries, F, right? So for more than 2 centuries. Duration, right? For more than 2 centuries. For cochineal harvesting that declined after, okay, question 35. Can I have Irina answer that, please?
The.
Okay. Can you tell me the clue? Always use the clue before you tell me the answer.
Cornel harvesting declined after an invention of cheap synthetic dyes in the.
Okay, so just invention. Okay, so it's the, right? So the answer is the, right? So it's the invention. Okay, after the invention. Okay, why can't it just be invention? Because the refers to that specific invention, right? It is not anything, but it's that specific invention that allowed cochineal harvesting to decline. Decline means less and less. Why? Because they invented these dyes that replaced it. What is it? It's the invention of those dyes that made it possible for us to use less cochineal. All right. So that's kind of the specific reference to that. All right. That helps me. Okay. Question 36. Ryan, can you try question 36, please? Thank you. Ryan, are you there? Okay, I'll come back to Ryan later. Okay. Kylie, can you try? No, we already tried Kylie, right? Let's see. Claire. Roshan, can you try question 36?
Is it the rebounded?
Okay, has rebounded is the clue. So what has rebounded? What's the answer?
I put it.
It. Okay, J, right? Is it J?
Yeah.
Now, correct. Very good. Okay, it has rebounded. It, because it's the use of the dye, right? So since this is not a person, I use the pronoun it to refer to the use of the dye. Okay, so yeah, you're absolutely correct. So this is an impersonal pronoun in case you are not sure what to call it. An impersonal pronoun is one that does not refer to a person. It refers to an object or a concept or an idea, right? So usually when we talk about concepts, ideas, objects, we use the referent it, which is an impersonal pronoun. Okay, right? So just to let you all have a label to call it by. Thank you, Roshan. That was good. Yuan, can you try question 37?
Is the clue artificial coloring?
Okay, right? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, you're correct. Actually, it's natural alternative and artificial coloring, but okay. Yeah, what was the answer you put?
Is it from?
No. You use it as a natural alternative from natural artificial coloring? No. It's the correct word type, but it's the wrong answer. Okay, so it's not from. Jairus, you want to go ahead? Try.
And a natural alternative to artificial coloring.
Thank you. And I like that you actually read the phrase out because, again, you're testing that answer within the context of the phrase. Okay, good. Thank you. So it's a natural alternative to something. So it's an alternative to. Alternative to is, again, a co-located phrase. Okay, so it is an alternative to, right? So, for example, walking to school is an alternative to driving, right? Taking the bus is an alternative to taking the train. All right, so alternative to, it's a collocated preposition. It always follows alternative. Right, good, thank you. Jairus, since you're on that, can you answer question 38 for us as well? Clue and then answer.
Made and bugs.
Yeah, so this is a verb, right? Made what?
From.
Okay, all right, okay. Made is a verb, right? So made from bugs. Okay, what's the alphabet?
G.
Thank you. Okay, so again, this is another kind of like a verb and preposition combination. You will realize that in grammar close, right? In grammar close, verbs and prepositions very popular. A lot of prepositions are tested here. because this is the most convenient place to test your prepositions. So you really need to be aware of your prepositions. Either prepositions next to verbs or prepositions next to nouns. Okay, either the locations of nouns or the locations of verbs, the directionalities of verbs is tested here using prepositions. So please put a little footnote here and make sure that you brush up on your preposition and your core location, okay? Whether it's phrasal verb or it's just verbs with prepositions or it's nouns with prepositions, prepositions are very popular, right? If you look at the sheer number of them being tested. So try to be a bit more sensitive to and knowledgeable about how prepositions are used in conjunction with other word types. Okay, good. Score yourself upon 10. Again, check that there are any patterns of errors. Yes, Nicholas?
Can question 38 be
Yep.
with?
Made with bugs.
Yeah.
No lah. You're asking in terms of oh yes, there is a with. Okay, I thought you were just asking if with is possible in the sense there is a with option. You eat something made from something else. You make something from something else. You make something with something else means that there are other ingredients besides that particular one. So for example, I make fried rice with rice. That's a correct statement to make, right? I make fried rice with rice. But if I say I make fried rice from... Sorry, dear, what is it? If I say I make fried rice from rice, then it's wrong, right? Because fried rice requires other ingredients, right? I cannot just make fried rice from rice. From means one source results in one product. So in this case, right, the cochineal, right, is the only ingredient that's required to make the food dye, the red dye. You only need the cochineal. You don't need any other ingredient to make the dye, right? So it's made from this particular ingredient. But if you use the word with, then you're saying, which is against what the rest of the passage is saying, that you require a lot of other items or other items in order to construct that final product. So you make something with, you are assembling different products in order to produce that thing. If you make something from, then you're using that one product and you're processing it into another product. Okay, so for example, sugarcane juice is made from sugarcane. You don't say sugarcane juice is made with sugarcane because you don't add anything else to it, or at least you shouldn't, right? If you're dishonest, you might add sugar and water, right? But that's basically it, okay? Irina, please don't play around with the filters. Thank you very much. Right, so the whole point is that you do not want to confuse yourself with a preposition that implies something that your passage does not. Right, Nicholas? I hope you understand. Now, in this case, you cannot use the word with because with has a different meaning from. It's not synonymous, right? It carries the meaning of multiple sources of ingredients. Okay, so I hope that helps you. But good, these questions kind of help us to clarify. Maybe we might want to describe this now. With, right, is multiple ingredients. From is single, okay? Single source, okay? Yeah. Right, so I hope this clarifies it for you. Again, it may not be easy for you all at this stage to fully understand the breadth of how prepositions are used, but because we do these practices together and we learn together, right, you're exposed to it. So now you are that much more knowledgeable and you are that much more sensitive. So I'm sure you can see it's boring. It's not exactly the most fun thing to do on a holiday morning. But if you do enough of this, you will be exposed to enough of these variations that nothing will catch you by surprise, right? And you'll be a little bit more sensitive to it the next time you encounter it. And that's the power of practice, right? Practice is not glamorous, but practice prepares you, right, for any eventuality that you may encounter. And the more practice you do, the more prepared you will be. And given that PSLE is not predictable, right, preparation is very, very important. The more you're exposed to different variations and difficult questions, the better you become at predicting and performing well in those situations when you do encounter them, right? Okay, good. Okay, last section, yay. Let's finish this off. Okay, I'm going to stop here at editing today, right? And then I'm going to skip synthesis, right? I will just send out the answers to all of you so you can mark synthesis yourself, because I think it's generally quite easy, right? And then we'll go into closed passage instead. Okay, we'll substitute and we'll do closed passage together. Okay, so this one very easy, very fast, right? Okay, let's have Heidi. No, Heidi already called already. Xuan Yi, have I called Xuan Yi? Okay, user, can you tell me fascination spelling? Then Xuan Yi can do 40.
FASCINATION.
Yep, thank you. Fascination. Okay, so remember always to sound out the words. Otherwise, they might look odd and you may not recognize them. So always use your mouth to sound out the words that are misspelled so that you can conceptualize them in your head. Okay, come, Shani, 40.
How which word?
Sorry,
Which word do I have to do?
40, quick.
Earned.
Because of the word was, right? Okay, earn, past tense. Okay, Gabriel, question 41.
Began.
Thank you. Began with an A, right? Again, remember your three forms: simple present, simple past, and perfect. Okay, begun. Begin, began, begun, right? And in this case, past tense, right? So it's simple past, it's began, right? It cannot be begun because begun is perfect. Begun does not carry any tense to it, so it doesn't work in this case, right? Begin and began carries present, past tense, respectively. Begun has no tense. It requires the had begun or has begun in order to give it a tense form. Okay, so be aware that perfect carries no tense form, therefore cannot work to carry a tense. Okay, question 42. I'm just going to call Jafina, 42, Solomon, 43. Okay, Jafina, go.
PARTICIPATED.
Thank you. TICI. Okay, even though it's not a doubling of the letter here, in this case there is a obvious pattern of doubling, even though it's not right side by side. Okay, go next person. Solomon, go.
And was appointed the command pilot for his first mission. Armstrong is
okay.
the crew.
Okay, Armstrong is the clue because of was, right? Armstrong is one person, therefore one puts S after the verb. Was appointed the command pilot for his first mission, Gemini 8. Okay, he faced an even bigger challenge. Angel, can you spell challenge for me, please? Thank you.
CHALLENGE.
Thank you. Don't forget the E at the end. Very good. Okay, question 45. This is a co-located phrase, along. Can I have Lucas answer this for me, please? Thank you. Lucas, along what? What's the word after along?
Is it with?
Very good. Thank you. Along with, right? So with is a preposition that is co-located with along. It's along with. It's always accompanying, right? So this idea has okay, this idea of accompanying something along with, right? Question 46. Let's have Shijay answer that. And question 47. Let's have Ariel answer that. 46. Shijay, spell descended.
DECENDED.
No, wrong. You missed out an S. DESCENDED. Okay, so be very aware, Shijay. It's SC, like science. Okay, descend is like science. SCRENCE, right? So always remember, be aware that whenever you have an S sound in the middle of a word, right, there is always a possibility that a C might intrude itself. Okay, even though it doesn't appear to be necessary, the S can carry the S sound, right? But in the middle of a word, whenever an S appears, right, the C is often not far behind. So be aware of the SC combination because that's often where you misspell it. Okay, Ariel, 47.
Is it famous?
Yeah, famous, right? His famous first step, because it's adjective, right, that describes the first step. So this is cannot be like, it's an adverb, right? You got to convert the adverb to adjective, and the easiest way to do that is to remove the ly. Thank you. That's good. Okay, so this is an adjective. I'm converting from adverb to adjective. I remove the ly, right? I just cancel it out. Okay, good. 48, can I have Javen do 48? Spell conducted for me, please. And you can do 49 also, numerous.
CONDUCTED.
Yep. And then numerous as well.
Is NUMEROUS.
Yep, thank you very much. And then finally 50, can I have is Sun Le here? Got Sun Le no? No Sun Le. No Sun Le. No, I don't see any Sun Le. I thought I saw Sun Le just now. Okay, never mind, it's okay. Can I have okay lah, Clarice, can you finish us off for question 50?
Including.
Very good. Absolutely right. Including. Okay. And again, I remind you, this is the beginning of a phrase, right? So usually, right, the ing form of the verb can start a phrase or a sentence. Okay. It's one of those rare verbs that can start a sentence. But of course, included doesn't work in this case. All right. Good. Thank you. That's good. Right. Now we skip synthesis. Okay. And then we do closed passage. I know that you have done synthesis, but let's do closed passage together. I know you have not done it. It's perfectly fine, right? But let's work on this together, okay? And then I will again showcase to you how the neighboring words and the sentence will help us to complete it. Let's just limit ourselves to the first paragraph, shall we? Then I'll let you all finish the rest yourselves as homework, right? And then we'll come back together tomorrow to discuss it, okay? Because it's coming close to 10 o'clock and I don't want to exceed the time. Okay, let's go. So always remember to highlight the first sentence, because the first sentence, okay, is the topic sentence. So obviously this has to do with pufferfish. And therefore, this is a non-fiction text, which leads me then to conclude that since non-fiction texts deal with facts, right, and deal with scientific data, they will often be in the present tense. Okay? Right? Because I'm dealing with facts, I'm dealing with statements, I'm dealing with scientific knowledge. It's not going to be a narrative. Okay? So I will see that the tenses that appear, right, will mostly be in the present or even in the future. Right? I'll be expressing things that I speculate about in the future. Okay? So this helps me to frame my expectations when it comes to responding to verb type answers later. Okay? So biologists think that pufferfish, also known as blowfish, develop their famous inflatability because their slow and somewhat clumsy swimming style makes them. Okay, so their slow and clumsy swimming style makes them. So I am describing something about them. So this has to be an adjective. Okay, it has to be an adjective. Okay, Skylar, makes them
Vulnerable.
Yeah, vulnerable. Okay. Vulnerable. Okay. I am assuming that please lower your hands after someone gives an answer that is similar to yours. Only keep your hands raised if your answer is different. Then I'll listen to you and then we'll see whether it's possible. Okay, so vulnerable to predators. Thank you. In lieu, right? In lieu of escape. In lieu means as an alternative. In case you are wondering what is in lieu, okay? In lieu means alternative to, right? Instead of, okay? Instead of running away or escaping, pufferfish use their highly elastic stomachs and the ability to quickly ingest or eat huge amounts of what? And even air. Okay, so remember, air is not the answer. So obviously it's not air. And then you think about the context of where the pufferfish is, it should be quite apparent to you what it is not and what it is. Okay, Dia? Huge amounts of water, right? Because they live in the water, they will ingest the water that's around them in order to puff up, right? And of course, they can sometimes surface and then ingest air in order to inflate themselves and then float, okay? When necessary, to turn themselves into a virtually inedible ball, several, their normal size, several, yes, Nicholas?
Several times.
Yeah, several times, right? Because of the word several. So several times their normal size. Notice when I read, the answers come quite intuitively, right? So read out to yourself, because reading out loud is different from reading in your head. Like I told you before, you're using twice as many sensory nerves when you use your mouth to read out loud than when you just use your head to read with your eyes. Use your eyes, your mouth, and your ears. That's tripling your sensory input already. And then that makes it easier for you to find your answer. Some species also have spines on their skin, which make them appear even what? Palatable. Stephanie, did you raise your hands? Even, this word even is a clue, right? So I'm comparing, right? Even is already a comparison, right? So even what? Shani, go.
Less.
Less. Why? Why not more? Because it's the spines, right? They make them less palatable, right? Or less edible, right? They appear less edible. Because, imagine a big ball full of spines. You're not going to swallow that because you know that's going to do damage to your throat. Okay, very good. Yes. Kanish, can you try the next one, please? Hold on. A predator manages to catch a pufferfish before it inflates. I'm sorry, I'll go a little bit further since we have a bit more time. A predator that manages to catch a pufferfish before it inflates will not feel lucky
for long.
for long. Okay, so the word long, right?
Co-located.
Co-located. Very good. Thank you. For long. For very long. Okay. Almost all pufferfish contain tetrodotoxin. Tetrodotoxin. I always pronounce it wrongly. Tetrodotoxin, a toxin that makes them foul-tasting and often lethal to fish. Tetrodotoxin is deadly to humans as well. There is what toxin in one pufferfish to kill 30 adult males? Stephanie?
There is enough.
Yeah, there is
Toxin.
enough. Very good. There is enough toxin. So notice I am using the sentence in order to justify my answer, right? So there is enough toxin in one pufferfish to kill 30 adult humans. I test that my answer works. Okay. Adrian, did you have a separate answer?
I want to answer the next one.
Oh, okay, sure. And there is no what antidote?
Known.
Very good. So no known antidote. Known means experimented with, proven to work, right? So there is no known antidote. Solomon, did you have an alternate answer? Try, go.
Can we say there is no possible antidote?
No, you can't know that. What? How do you know that there's no possible antidote? Maybe in the future, someone might develop an antidote. So that is a factually incorrect statement to make. Kanish?
Existing antidote.
No existing antidote. Okay, possible. Shani?
No found antidote.
No, cannot. Dia?
I just wanted to answer the next question.
Okay, wait, Jairus?
Can we say there is no confirmed antidote?
Cannot, because it is not that it's not confirmed, it's that there is no existing antidote. For sure, there isn't. Because if there were, then people would already be rescued, right? So even if it's unconfirmed, there would be cases of people who have already been rescued, right? But there aren't, all right? So that is factually incorrect as well. Okay, Dia, can you try the next one then? Pufferfish is considered a what?
Delicacy.
The word amazingly, right? So even though it is so poisonous and unpalatable, it is still considered a delicacy. Okay. Clarissa, is there an alternate answer?
Specialty?
No. Specialty is not specific enough. A delicacy is a food type. Specialty can be a craft, can be art, right? So you are not specific enough in this case. It has to be a food type. Okay, so delicacy is a specific word describing a special type of food. Okay, yeah. So called fugu in Japan, it is extremely expensive, only prepared by trained licensed chefs who know that one bad cut means almost certain user.
Almost certain death.
Yep, certain death. All right. Again, certain death is a kind of collocated phrase. I'm sure you all have heard often, right? Certain death means like it is a death sentence. There is no possibility of reprieve. All right. So if you eat tetrodotoxin, it is a death sentence, is basically what the sentence is saying. Okay, great. So there are 120 species of pufferfish worldwide. Most are found in tropical, subtropical waters, but most are found in tropical, but this is very straightforward, right? Most are found, Ryan, you are finally back. Can you please tell us the answer to question 60? Most are found in tropical, subtropical, but what do you think is the answer here, Ryan? Sorry, again?
Some.
Some, very good. Yeah. So I'm contrasting most and some. Most of them, subtropical, tropical waters, some of them live in brackish water. By the way, bonus, does anybody know what brackish waters mean? If I'm contrasting tropical, subtropical, ocean water, right? Then what do you think brackish water refers to? Huh? Clarissa? No, don't shake your head. Okay, Kanish?
Water from rivers and lakes.
Basically, non-salty water lah. Okay?
Fresh water.
Brackish means like fresh or non-salty water lah. Okay? Yeah, brackish water, non-salty water. Okay? Some wear wild colors to exhibit their toxicity, while others have more muted coloring to what in with their environment. So be aware of the word in. To what in, Clarissa? To what in? Hello, hurry up, please. Don't know the answer, then lower your hand, please. It's very misleading. Thank you. Adrian?
Blend.
Blend in. Thank you very much. Okay, to blend in with the environment. Any possible answers besides blend in? Please raise your hand. Stephanie? Stephanie?
My computer is lagging.
Okay. Any other possible answers? No, all good, Teresa, lower your hand, please. Genevieve?
Fit in.
No. Again, fitting in is what you do socially, right? You get what I mean? No? You fit in socially, right? Blending in is camouflaging, right? This is nothing to do with whether the pufferfish, like fits in a society or not. It's got nothing to do with fitting in, all right? Yeah. I'll lower the hand for you manually. Adrian, did you have an alternative answer?
Oh no, I just wanted to tell you that maybe Clarissa couldn't lower her hand.
I don't know why.
That was
that's
lagging.
Okay, anyway, I've lowered it for you. Right. So question number 62, they what in size? And this is something that occurred earlier, right? They what in size, okay? Yeah. Shijay?
Range.
Yeah, very good. And here I want to stop us and notice that all the verbs, right, are in the present tense. Blend, range. Why? Because we spotted that this is a non-fiction text, right? Very early on. So we are sensitive to the fact that we want to use a present tense for all the verbs. Okay, so be aware of that. All right. Okay, so range in size. Alternative answers, is it, Kanish? Do you have alternative answer? Yeah, what is it?
Differ in size.
Differ in size? No, because it's ranging. It's the range of the sizes that I'm talking about, not the difference. I'm talking about the range of sizes from 25-meter long pygmy to freshwater giant puffer. So it's the ranging, right? I'm not comparing in terms of differences, but I'm talking about the range of the sizes. Okay, so no, I wouldn't accept difference or differing. Skylar?
What about varying?
Oh, okay, yes, varying in size. Is the variance varying in size? Yes. They range in size. I'm sorry, not varying, vary in size. Okay, they vary in size. Yes, correct. Okay, good. Solomon?
Can it be grow?
No lah. They don't grow in size, but the size is fixed. You mean the pygmy can one day become a giant? No, the pygmy will always be a pygmy, the giant will always be a giant. It's not that they grow from one size to another. It's that they are ranging or varying in their sizes. Do you understand, Solomon? You use the wrong word, it will convey the wrong meaning. No? So you must be very careful. Solomon, there is a predictability to your answers. You tend to speculate, but your answers tend to always go outside of the range of the acceptable context. So always limit your answer to the context of the question. Got it, Solomon? Be aware of the context, what is required. Okay? Yeah, Dia, what is it?
Next question. I wanted to
Okay.
answer.
Okay, go. Pollution.
Endanger.
Okay, pollution and habitat loss and danger, but that's not my number one answer. Okay, is there someone else who has another possible answer that might be a little bit more conventional in this case? You know, these things are what? They are what? Adrian?
I wrote effects.
No, effect is not strong enough. Okay, it's too weak already, right? Because this is very serious. Shijie?
Threaten.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for, right? The word threaten. Why? Because these are threats. These are threats. Pollution and habitat loss are threats. Okay? More than they are dangers, they are threats. So they threaten certain species or they endanger, I will accept. Okay? Solomon?
Can we say harm?
No, because it's obvious that they harm, right? Many things harm, but this is more serious than harm. It endangers the entire species or it threatens the entire species. Okay? So it's not just about harm. Harm is not enough, not sufficiently strong, right? Skylar?
Can we put jeopardize?
Yeah, sure. Jeopardize and endanger are synonyms. So jeopardize, definitely. Okay. And be careful when you spell jeopardize, it's with an S and not with a Z. Okay, that's American spelling, huh? Be consistent. So jeopardize and endanger are the same, right? They are serious threats to or threaten certain species of pufferfish. Okay, good. Thank you. Pufferfish are also, I'm sorry, I'm rushing because I just want to finish this off and then I can let us go off. Pufferfish are also victims of the pet trade, removed what their natural habitat. Oh dear. So many prepositions. Okay. Yes, Nicholas?
Move from.
Removed from their natural habitat. So you're taking them out from their natural habitat. Confined to tiny tanks, they what? Constant stress and boredom. They what? They what? Constant stress. It's a verb here. Kanish?
Experience.
They experience, right? Because it's their experience of stress and boredom that causes their immune systems to be weakened and then to be compromised and then to make them fall sick, okay? And then ultimately die premature deaths. Okay, so that's kind of it. I hope you all get through the process of this, that I read sentences out loud and then I locate what is the word type and then I fit it in based on the context of that sentence by looking at the question, the word to the left, to the right, and then I read within the sentence, right? And then I determine whether it's contextually accurate by reading the whole thing out so that I can test it with my ears and with my eyes and of course with my brain. And then finally, I look at the whole context of the passage. It's a non-fiction text. So I narrow down my tense type in this way. So I'm using different sources of information. I'm juggling all the sources in order to triangulate on the correct answer. And many times you all have answers that are very similar, but I reject, right? Why? Because it's rejected by the context of this particular question or this particular sentence. So look into that. Okay, Kanish, please behave yourself. All right. Do you have any questions? If not, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm going to end it here. I remind all of you, finish your synthesis. If you can, finish your entire paper 11, okay? And then your entire paper 12. If you cannot, right, focus on finishing the comprehension and the comprehension close here, these two sections, right? If you really are tight on time, you have other commitments, you have tuition, whatever, you have work to do, then just finish the comprehension and the comprehension close passage here. I will send out the annotated version of the entire paper 11 and paper 12 to all of you so you can check all the sections that you have completed, along with annotations and clues and like explanations and all by the end of today, right? So you should be able to get 11 and 12 by today, right? So thank you for your time. If you want to, you can stay back. I'm going to do a very short explanation on verb forms, right? But if you think that you're confident with verbs and you're okay with it, you are free to leave and remember to do your homework in time for tomorrow, okay? Wait, stop, before you all go, one last announcement. Can you please try to finish your compo, the one in SLS? Remember I posted the PSLE paper 2021 when Mrs. Pak Young came in as your relief teacher. I was away for that day, right? It was in SLS. A lot of y'all didn't know whether to write the situational writing or the compo. Please do both. Please do both. And then can you submit it to me, like WhatsApp it to me as a soft copy so that I can, no, I tell you what, just submit it into SLS. Just submit it to SLS, okay? Within that area for submission, right, just type your situational writing on top and type your compo below and then submit as one assignment. Can y'all do that?
Mr. Pang,
Yep.
for some
You already
reasons
submitted, is it?
No, for some reasons I have problems in the submitting the SLS. So what should I do? Should I write it down?
Try to type it out for me because it's easier for me to correct and edit when it's in soft copy than it is for me to correct and edit when you've actually written it down in hard copy. Then I have to scan and stuff like that. I will unsubmit for everybody, okay, so that y'all can resubmit again. Can y'all do that, please? Right? Or I tell you what, I'll just repost the entire assignment. So y'all can just resubmit again. I'll have different sections for situational and compo. I'll do it by tonight. Can? Then y'all complete it by the end of this week. Is that sufficient time for everybody? Can? Okay, so tomorrow, same time, same channel, please complete your set 13, and then I'll tell you all what is going to change for Thursday and Friday. Okay, Ken, any questions? If not, then good job, everybody. Well done. Adrian, you have a question? You raise your hand. Solomon?
What if my compo is in a Word document?
That's fine. You can you copy and paste from your Word document and like put it into the submission box, right?
Okay.
I will delete the assignment and repost it again. So you can do that, right? But please go home and download the assignment if you don't have a copy of it, right? Before I delete the assignment tonight. Can? So you don't lose a copy of your initial draft. Okay, Nicholas, yes, do you have a question?
We also have to do the situational writing.
Yes, both situational and composition. I will include that in the new assignment instructions, don't worry. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So you just look at the assignment again by tonight. If you need to download it so that you don't lose your earlier draft. Solomon?
Can you please repeat when's the due date again?
By the end of this week, by Friday.
Thank you.
No problem. Amelia?
So when we like check the annotations you give us for set 11 and set 12, do we have to like mark it with a red pen?
Yes, I will send out the instructions to you when I send out the annotated versions of 11 and 12. Don't worry. Okay, so I will remind you of what I expect you to do and the minimum requirement, right? So which are the sections you must complete, which are the sections that are optional. I will put it there as well. So don't worry. Okay? Yeah, so you will not lose out. I will send all of this out by tonight, okay, along with the links to the videos for today and yesterday, in case you missed yesterday's session. Okay? Thank you all so much. If you don't have any other questions, and if you are okay with verb forms, you are free to leave. Otherwise, I will do a very quick 5 to 10 minute, right, review on verb forms, right? I'll just give the others a moment to take their leave if they are confident of their verb forms.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye. Thank you all for your time. Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, can I just check? Ruoxuan, were you here yesterday? No, right? Oh, she left already. Okay, never mind. Okay. No, she's still here. Ruoxuan, were you here yesterday? Okay. Are you able to attend the future sessions?
For Thursday, right? I cannot attend because I got a test.
Okay,
I
sure.
have to go
Then
somewhere.
you just let me know which days you cannot attend, right? And
Okay.
then yeah, if need be, I will send you the additional materials because sometimes I don't record some of the additional sessions, right? So you let me, right? Because I think that you'll probably okay, thank you.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Okay. Let's go to I'll just insert a page, right? Then like what I did the last time, maybe after this. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay. Let me just insert a page after here. Okay, so I'm going to talk about verb forms. Okay, forms of verbs. Okay, and then I'm going to explain to you how they work, right? So in the last session, we talked about tenses, right? So this is in some way related, but it's not the same thing. Because when we talk about tenses, right, tenses always carry the element of time. Whereas the forms of a verb carries what we in grammar know as an aspect, right? An aspect is basically the nature of the action, whether it is repetitive, whether it's continuous, whether it is a point in time, or whether it is over a period of time. That's aspect, okay? So it's got nothing to do with when the action takes place. It's more got to do with how the action takes place, okay? How the action takes place. So time is when, right? Aspect is how, right? And of course, like I made mention of just now, there are three main aspects of verbs within the English language, right? There's the simple aspect. There's the continuous aspect. And then there's the perfect aspect. Okay, so simple, continuous, and perfect. And again, I tell you, it's not time-based. It can happen in the past, it can happen in the present, it can happen in the future. All these three forms can occur in any one of these combinations, okay? But it's just about how you use these aspects in combinations with other verbs, right? But suffice to say, I'll just give you an example and then we'll take it from there, right? So, eat, eating, eaten. Okay, so if you recall, right, eat, past tense is ate, right? Ate doesn't occur here. Why? Because I'm not talking about time, I'm talking about aspect. Okay, and all verbs contain these three aspects. But some verbs that are irregular verbs, right? They do not either have a certain aspect or their aspects are repeated. Okay, so for example, run is an irregular verb. Irregular because it does not have three forms of the aspect. Notice here, run and run, they are duplicated. So this makes run an irregular verb form. So in case you've ever heard of people talking about regular verbs and irregular verbs, more irregular, right? Then you will know that an irregular verb has its perfect aspect similar to one of its other aspects. It can be the simple or it can be the past, okay? But basically, it's usually the simple, right? So the irregularity of a verb is important. Why? Because when you construct a sentence, in grammar, the most common distractor is they will throw in a past tense to distract you from a perfect. Okay, so you will have options like had run, had ran. Okay, and then many of you will default to this because it's in the past, right? So if one past is good, two past is better, right? Okay, but here is where you need to remember the cardinal rule of the perfect tense, which is that it does not carry any tense. Okay, so always remember the first verb in a 2 or 3 verb phrase always carries the tense. Okay, and that is why I say that tense and aspect are linked. They're always linked, right? So for example, if I have a very complex phrase, a present continuous perfect tense, will have been eating. Or would have been eating. Notice that it is only the first tense that carries, or rather only the first verb that carries the tense. Okay, in this case, will and would. Everything else remains the same, right? Everything else remains the same. So you cannot have, in this case, this is wrong, 2 verbs within the same verb phrase carrying a tense. Then you know that there's a mistake. In other words, the moment you see this phrase, this cannot be the answer because it is grammatically inconsistent. It should self-destruct. So anytime you see a verb phrase, right, and there are 2 verbs in that verb phrase that are struggling to carry the tense, right, then you know that that verb phrase is inconsistent. Okay, it is inconsistent. It will fall down. And this has to do with my understanding of how the perfect aspect does not carry tense. The continuous aspect also does not carry tense. Okay? The simple present and simple past aspect does, okay? But the continuous and the perfect forms do not. These 2 aspects do not carry tense. Okay? So you see, eating doesn't carry tense. Eating doesn't carry tense. Been doesn't carry tense. Been doesn't carry tense. Because they are here the perfect and the continuous respectively. Right? And because have is tied to the perfect, right? Have been, then have also doesn't carry the tense. Right? Only the first verb that is in a verb phrase will carry its tense. right? So if you understand how aspects work and you understand how verb phrases are constructed, you will only look at the first verb in order to ascertain whether it is the correct tense. Then you look at the subsequent words to ascertain whether it's the correct aspect that fits into that particular answer. So this is where your 3-2-2-1 pattern of verb comes in, okay, to determine whether it falls within the correct pattern or not. Okay, I hope this is relatable and understandable to you. Do you all have any questions? Is this a little bit difficult to understand, or do you all understand? Okay, silence means you all understand. Okay, you understand. Okay, so I repeat again. In verbs, right, there are tenses and aspects. Tenses tell you when the verb occurs. Aspects tell you how the verb occurs. Aspects or forms of the verb. Okay, so today I'm talking about aspect, not tense, because I talked about tense yesterday, right? So the aspect of a verb can be simple, continuous, or perfect. But neither of these states tell you the tense of the verb. Okay? You require the first verb in that verb phrase to determine the tense. In this case, it's will or would. It can also be has or had. Okay, if I shorten from such a complex one to a simple one, the word has or had is the tense, and the word eaten is the aspect or the form of the verb. In this case, is perfect form, right? Eaten. Okay, and if you remember our lesson on tenses, present perfect is something that has just happened in the past. Past perfect is something that happened in a sequence of 2 events happening in the past. He had eaten by the time I arrived. So he eat first, then I arrived, in that order, but all happening in the past. Okay? So that's how you use aspect. Aspect is independent of time. Tense is time. So when tense and aspect come together, you understand how the action happened and you understand when the action happened. How? Is it perfect or continuous or just a simple act? When? Is it present tense, past tense, or future tense? Got it? So that's how the verb form affects how the verb is used. Any questions? Thus ends my very short 10-minute tutorial on aspects of a verb. If you want practical applications in writing, I would say try your very best to use more continuous forms of the verb in your writing of narratives. Because when you write a narrative, you want the reader to be sucked in to the action, the immediacy and the continuity of your story. So use the verb form that most allies itself to this particular purpose, which is the continuous form of the verb, right? Whether it's in the gerund form or it's in the continuous form, right? Having ing adds an element of immediacy, adds an element of continuity to your writing. So that's the application. When I learn verb forms, I try to use them appropriate to my writing purpose. Whereas if I'm writing a non-fiction account of a factual and scientifically accurate encounter, then I want to use the simple present tense, the simple form, with no aspect at all, so that it's very clear that I'm making objective, non-opinion-based recounts of that particular phenomena or scientific encounter. So I use simple present tense. When do I use the perfect tense? I use the perfect tense when I want to sequence events in an orderly manner. I want to tell you what happened first, then I want to tell you what happened immediately after that. Or I want to tell you what just happened a moment ago. That's when I use the perfect aspect in order to express that particular timeliness or orderliness of the events that have occurred. Got it, everybody? So that's basically the structure of the English language, right? And if I want to be a writer next time, many of you won't, right? But some of you may become magazine editors. Some of you may become reporters in the Straits Times. Some of you may even write your own manuals or books. Then you need to be aware of how your tense selection affects your readers' ability to absorb your information, right? So being able to selectively use these in an aware and sensitive manner will boost the effectiveness of your writing, whatever that writing is for. Whether you're a lawyer, you're a writer, you're a professional magazine editor, or you are maybe an online content creator, right? How you choose your tenses will affect your ability to communicate effectively and will set you apart from other people who may be more sloppy in their communication and therefore not as effective. Okay? So that's my spiel, right? Please try to be a bit more aware of this. You have many years ahead of you, right? I remember I was only in like junior college when I learned about this. Right now you're in primary school. You're being exposed to this. You're aware of it. So you have many more years to acquire sensitivity and competence in these areas. So please, right, try your best. Sensitize yourself to it. When you read books, be aware of the tenses they use. When you look at articles in the newspaper, look out for how they phrase the aspect, right, of their tenses. And then be conscious of what effect they're trying to have on you. Then try to emulate, copy that effect in your own writing and communication, whether it's written or verbal. Okay? Ken? That is my talk for you today. I hope that was useful, okay? Yeah, thank you for your time, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording now, officially. If you have any more questions or you have any